Hello Infiniteers, we are back in my Wall-E toy box, and today I want to finish up the resort area of the ship. Last time we added the buildings around that side of the resort, and I told you that all you had to do was mirror that on the opposite side. And as you can see, I have done that. And this is what it looks like. It looks pretty decent, if I do say so myself. And you can see it looks exactly like what's on the other side. I did add these vertical wall pieces here, which I forgot to add last time. The same ones that I had added over here before. And those are over here as well. And followed it all the way around over to this point. And as you can see from this screenshot from the original Wall-E movie, if you compare that with what I built, you can see that it's a decent approximation of what we saw in the movie. It's not exact, but it has a similar look and feel. So now let's add some details and finish up this area. And I think the first detail that I want to look at is the entrance to the resort over here. And you can see that in this screenshot. Notice the archway over the tram. It looks like this could be a footbridge between the two angled buildings on either side, or something like that. And I want to try to recreate this. And to do that, I'm going to have to use basic blocks. So if we come in over here, what we're basically going to be doing is building in that screenshot, right here, what you saw in the picture. So first thing I think I'd like to do is extend our road here. So let's go up to the racetrack pieces. And we're going to use the racetrack split. I want to put this at the same level as the road here. Okay. And we'll style this using the same theme, which is the ivory forest floor. And this is going to leave something of a gap under here, so we're going to want to plug that. So I think if we come over here and grab, where is it? One of these pieces. And we bring that over, and let's use the smaller piece. And we're going to line this up with the edge of the road here. So about like that. The main thing is, you can see from the green, the area I'm trying to fill in. Don't go beyond the edge of the block down here, because we're going to be adding some stuff next time there. And we'll style this again using Frosted White World. And we'll put one of those on the other side over here to match. Okay. So there we are. Now for the archway, we'll go up to the basic blocks, and I guess, oh, instead of scrolling through the drawer, let's grab this block here. That gets us back to that part of the drawer. And we're going to use this block. And we're going to place this right here on the seam between those buildings. Go up all the way. And we'll style this using the Plastic 2 theme. I'll set that to be my theme. And then we'll put another one right next to it. And for the angled slot on either side, we're going to need some of these blocks, which you'll understand why here shortly. And we're going to need these blocks. And I really want to fit this in under here, which means I'm going to need to use a path. And we're going to fit another one down here, and I don't have to use a path for this. But I want you to notice how there's a gap between the building and the block. You can kind of see it there. And to fill that gap, that's why we're going to use these. We're going to stick those under there. So, to place these where we need them and have them remain there, we're going to need to use a path creator. And so we want to place this right underneath the center of the bridge there, on the seam between those two blocks. Drop it all the way down on the surface of the road. And we can drop this down and exit. Come up to the path properties, open the logic menu, and we're going to turn auto start objects when connected off. Okay. All right. And I'm going to drop one of these on either side. Like that. Okay, so let's start with the first one. We'll select that. We'll do a new path connection. Connect that over here. Toy box path. Go up and select the block. Go into new logic connection and exit back out. That just anchors the camera. It's a little bug that we can use in our favor, because now we can rotate the camera where we want. And we're going to come up here and under the vertical offset, we're going to raise this up to that point. So set the vertical offset to 8. Horizontal offset, we're going to move this over. And let's see if I can get to a point where I can see it. There we go. And we're going to place it right there. So 10 for the horizontal offset. Okay. And there we go. And we'll do the same with this block, except the numbers will be a little bit different, I think. Connect that up to the path. Select the block. Anchor the camera. Go into Properties. Toy box path. Vertical offset is 8. This time the horizontal offset, oh, that does go the same way. Okay, so that's still going to be 10. I thought it might be negative since we were going the other way, but since the block was turned around 180 degrees from the other one, that's what we had to do. Okay, and then to plug the gaps, we'll connect these blocks up. So new path connection. Anchor the camera, go into Properties, Toy box path. Vertical offset should be 8 again. Horizontal offset, this time, because of the way I had the block oriented, we're at negative 14. Let's do this one next. New path connection. Toy box path. Anchor the camera. Properties. Vertical offset 8. Horizontal offset this time is going to be plus 14. That moves the block right into there and plugs that gap, which looks good. And then we need a way to plug the gap on the bottom. So we need another block for that. This time we don't have to set the vertical offset. Because it's already set at the point where we want. We just need to slide it over. And this time we're going to put it at -17. Which I think looks a little better than if we put it at -18. And the last block for our archway. And I know this is a little bit tedious to do, probably tedious to watch, but when you're building this, it's also tedious to do. But it looks really good when you're done. So if we set it to 18, that would leave a gap there between those blocks. We can cover it up by doing that. Okay, and there's our archway. And that looks pretty similar to what we saw in the movie. So I like that. Okay. The next thing we're going to look at is the pool area over here. And from this screenshot, which we saw last time, excuse me, you can see that there are a bunch of smaller pools with one large pool in the middle and what looks like a lazy river around the perimeter. Unfortunately, I don't think I have anything that I can use for that large pool. So we're just going to add some smaller pools. There are no trees, but if you look around the outside edge of the lazy river, you'll see some pedestals that are projecting some kind of hologram above them. And those are actually holograms of trees. There's also a few scattered in and around the pools. And like last time, you can get a better look at these holograms in this screenshot. And what you'll notice is that these holograms are actually pictures of trees. So if we do add any trees in here, we can kind of pretend that they're holograms. And that's important because the only real pool that we have is this one, which is out of building sets group 2. And it includes trees. So we're just going to pretend those are holograms. So let me pick this up. Pick it up. There you go. And we're going to bring this over into the area over here. And let me pull up my screen grab because I know a lot of you like to have this duplicated exactly the way I had it in my original toy box. But we're going to center this right here on the seam between all 4 of these. And we're going to move at an angle up over here. We'll place one here like this. Place another one over here like that. And I'm just looking at how these are positioned. It looks like this is got to go to the left. Just a little bit more, because I want the corner of this to overlap the terrain there just a little bit. Looks like that's already doing that, but we want it to be kind of with that one over there. But if you get it just basically close enough, that's pretty good. Okay. And then for the holograms in the middle, we're going to use this piece. And let's style this using the Tomorrowland theme, which adds that little glowing holographic looking thing with a railing. And I kind of like that. So not quite what you see in the movie, but it's a nice approximation anyway. You have some pools, you have some of those glowing things, which don't exactly look like trees, but that's okay. And then around the perimeter of the road that we're kind of using to approximate our lazy river, we're going to add in some pedestals. And let me find my screen grab that I did for those. Okay, so that is Fantasy Terrain 4. That's what we're going to use for that. And we're going to place these kind of around the perimeter. We'll place one and we'll style it using the Nomancian Island terrain. I'll set that to be my theme. That just kind of creates a little pedestal with a hologram. It's not a tree, but it looks similar to what we see in the movie. And we're just going to place some of these around the perimeter of the road here. And I'm trying to place these kind of across from the other ones. About the same distance away from the edge of the road. Kind of putting these in something of a circle there. And I think that just adds a nice detail. And if you don't like the way I've got mine oriented, that's fine. You can change yours to orient them however you like, whether you want them this way or this way. But there we go. And that looks pretty decent. I like the way that looks. Okay, so we've got the pools, we've got the little holographic pedestals around the perimeter, and I think that looks good. Now, let's turn our attention to what is under the raised area here, under the road, where the tram runs. And right now you can see there's some sky under there. We need to plug that. And if we look at this screenshot from the movie, you can see from the background that there's a wall under there with archways and windows. You can also see that in this shot. We actually have something like this in the toy box, and it comes from the terrain theme that's unlocked by the Tomorrowland Futurescape Power Disc, which I talked about last time. So this is what I want to put under the raised road where the tram runs. So what I'm going to do is come back over here again to this piece and pick it up, put it back. And before we change our terrain theme, there's a couple of sections here that we need to plug. There's a hole there between the road and the buildings, and one on the other side as well. And I think we're okay everywhere else, because the road goes right up to those buildings. And we've already filled in the terrain blocks on either side here. Okay, so now let's come over here. And what we're going to do is, before we move this underneath, let's style it. And we're going to use, again, the Tomorrowland theme. Okay, so that gives us that, which isn't quite like the movie. If we spin it around, that's a little bit closer, so I like that side of this. So we're going to use that instead. And I want to put this back under the road a little bit like that. And let's start down on this end where we have this block. So we're going to put those under there like that. And that's pretty similar to what you see in the movie. And then we'll spin this around. Okay. And looks like we went a little bit further with that. Okay. And then we're going to add in some of these across the back here. So just like that. And that gives us what we had underneath there. And then we'll do the same thing over here on this wall. Again, flip it around to the side that we like. And there we go. And we have to leave this one set the way it is because the corner of that shows up here. And I don't want that to be green. It's got to be the frosted white world there. So we'll have to leave that the way it is. But that looks pretty similar to what's in the movie, so I like that. All right, now, around the perimeter of the resort area, we have a bunch of bright holographic billboards that advertise various things, as you can see here in this shot. And so I think I want to add those next. And to do that, let's come back over here again to a piece that I placed down ahead of time. I guess it's on the other side. That's over here. And we're going to place some of these around the perimeter just to give us our billboards here. Excuse me. And let me find my screen grabs. Okay, so over on this side, we're going to place this first one right here, covering up that building seam. The next one we're going to place over here, and we're going to raise that up 2 nudges. Okay, so I like that. And we don't want to place too many of these in here, because we're going to have a lot of them out in that next area that we'll start building next time. But we just kind of want to give the idea of this here. And if we look at the other side, sorry, just trying to find my screen grab. Okay. We're going to place one of these right up here like that. And we're going to drop this down to ground level. There. And then we'll put another one of these Bueno Eats ones over here. Raise this, make sure it's up against the building and raise that up there. And I think those are the only ones I placed in this area. Yeah. Okay. And then to kind of fill the space here, we're going to use a couple of trees here. This is going to be Fantasy Terrain Strip 2. We're going to place that in here like this, and about like that. And we're going to change the theme on this to be the San Francisco storefronts. And I actually want to turn that around. Okay. And then we're going to move this over and put another one about the same position over on this side. That just adds some more of those nice billboard looking pieces, which looks good. It adds a lot of them, and we're only adding 2 building pieces. So that's That's nice. All right, this is looking really, really good. And I think it looks a lot like what you see in the movie, or at least it gives you the feel for it. Okay, the last thing, final detail I want to add are the windows at the base of the tower. And again, you can see those in this screenshot. Whether these are windows or doors, I'm not quite sure. Some are definitely doors, but some may just be windows. They look like glass, and once again, we'll use basic blocks for these. And once again, we're going to need to use another path to fit them underneath the archways. So the piece that we will use will be these small walls. In order to fit them underneath here, again, we're going to have to use a path to put that here. The ones under here, that one should fit just fine. So we can go ahead and just set that one in place. And for the terrain theme on this, we're going to use, we can either use the crystal theme. I'll set that to be my theme, which kind of looks like glass. Your alternative is you can use the robin's egg. And if you use that, that looks like that. And this is what I used before, so I'll set that to be my theme. Okay. And you can decide whether you like it oriented that way or that way and set kind of deeper within that archway. I think this is sufficient. Okay, so we're going to need three of these on either side and a path. This path tool is one of the most helpful tools for building things. Alright, so we drop that, and it did not put me into point mode, so let me delete it and do this again. There we go. We'll drop our second point underneath the terrain, exit, select the path point, go into properties, turn off auto start objects when connected. Alright, so we'll come over to our first block over here, open the logic menu, do a new path connection, connect that to the path. And let's move that piece out from the middle because that's just going to get in our way. Okay, selecting that can be a little tricky because the road kind of gets in the way here. All right, so go in there to anchor the camera, come into properties, toy box path. Horizontal offset will be 4. For the next one, new path connection. See how it wants to select the path, so you got to get up just above that, but not high enough where you hit that white block above. All right, toy box path, horizontal offset this time will be 8. And then the last one on this end anchor the camera, which I forgot to do last time. Horizontal offset this time will be 12. And that will leave a little bit of a blue dot here on the thing where it sticks through the corner there, up on the middle. Can't really help that. And then we just do the same thing with this side, except the offsets will be the other direction this time. So this time it will be -4. This one will be -8. The next one will be -12. And do you need to anchor the camera if you know what this is going to be? No, you don't. But I like to be able to see it, and I certainly want to show it for you on the video, so that's why I'm anchoring the camera. So anchor the camera, properties, toy box path, horizontal offset this time is -12. And now that all of those points are in, or all those blocks are in place, now we can push this one back into place. And that is the base of the tower. And that covers up the building that you see behind it. And with that, the Axiom Resort area is done. Next time, we will begin working on the gallery area that leads up to the resort entrance, where Wall-E rides the tram and passes all kinds of shops and restaurants and even a school. You won't want to miss that, so if you haven't already subscribed to my channel, be sure to do that before you go, and leave a comment and let me know what you think of the resort area of the Axiom. I'd love to hear from you. Thank you for watching. Have a great day.